and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round number 9 for today's Grand Prix episode. And we are here at the circuit of Spielberg for round number 9. And last year, on last year's title, and in fact on the previous year title, this has been a very strong track for the player. This is also one of my favourite Grand Prix across the year, one that I always look forward to throughout the racing calendar. And obviously, yeah, you know, it's just such a great track, you know, and I think it delivers so much of what Formula 1 needs, and it allows for great close racing, you know, between really all the top teams, but not only just the top teams, but also some great midfield battles as well. So, you know, last year's you know, race in season 1, we were with Williams, okay, in our first career mode on that F1 2018 game, and we actually managed to put the car in P3 on the grid. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think we're going to be able to do that this game, but if we can, what a race this could turn into, you know, who just knows. But yeah, you know, lovely track though this is. It's always just at the right time of year though, as well, when the weather's at always its best. You rarely see rain here, just like so many Formula 1 races. Really, rain is during the latter part of the stage, I would say, of the season, where it's more likely, like Brazil, maybe Britain as well. But yeah, obviously we're going to kick things off with the usual track acclimatization, so let's get into this today then. The track acclimatization, of course, and let's see what we can do here on, you know, this lap really of Spielberg. And as I say, it is one of my favourite Grand Prix circuits of the season, as we head down the hill, you know, through turn number 9 or 10, I think that is, not too sure, but anyway, up the hill through turn 1. Very short lap, about 1 minute 5, you know, lap times are now around here. Running out a little bit wide, not quite getting the line I would have liked through there. Would like to have been a bit tighter and a bit neater, but nonetheless, don't hurt our lap too bad. Obviously, luckily it's not qualifying. Now up into turn 2, or turn 3 technically, as some would say. Technically, according to the actual track map. Now down into turn 4, or turn 3. There we go. Let the car roll through the corner. Now we come into the final sector of the lap, uphill, as we go over crest. Get prepared to heavy turn, and don't be afraid to let the car turn in, and just spinning there. Probably got a bit too aggressive there on how we turned in the car, but we'll try again. You've got to commit through there, then drive the car onto the grass just somewhat, and across the line. So it wasn't the greatest lap, but we're now going to put on a bit of a car setup that should help us out. We're going to go for this less downforce, because downforce here isn't really a thing that really is needed here. You really want to be running as probably less drag as possible, you know, because it is, you know, just one of them circuits. But also, cornering speed is also quite crucial. It's that fine balance of finding, you know, that cornering speed, but also having good straight line pace and good top speed. That is that balance that you've got to try and find, and that's why this circuit is probably one of the more difficult ones on the calendar. We're going to do race run now. This so will help us out then with our race pace. So yeah, let's go. Let's get into this lap then. First lap here on the Spielberg circuit. That's a better run through turn 1 than the first attempt. turn 2. And that's about picking the path of least rolling resistance. Downhill braking, very easy to run wide on the exit of this corner. The nice thing though about this track, you're always reminded not to abuse it, if that makes sense, because one mistake and you do have gravel tracks and grass, which obviously does make it that sort of old school type circuit. Obviously you do have quite a few runoffs here, but obviously mainly you're surrounded by that grass, of course, which just, you know, is the pinnacle of the track limits. So if you do run off wide, a bit like maybe Canada, it can really be a punishment. Obviously there are 1 or 2 turns where there are some runoffs, but certainly here, coming down the hill, you know, you got practically inches of grass, then you're in the gravel, of course. And I think this one, you know, you're just less than a few inches and then you're in gravel. You know, it is really much on the limit. And this is what I think every F1 track should have, you know. Yes, I do think runoffs are okay, but I think to solve, you know, majority of the issues we see in F1, I think we need this, you know, type of track where, you know, a mistake doesn't, you know, reward you, it punishes you. Like, yeah, I think 1 or 2 corners is okay to have runoffs, but not every single corner, like France. Because, you know, at France, basically it's corner cut central, if you understand where I came from. You know, of course you want to abuse track limits, because they are there to be abused, of course. You know, the opportunity is there, whereas this is a bit more old school. The opportunity doesn't come at every corner. Like here, you want to try and keep it as neat as possible. Like, it made no sense to run the car out wide onto certain bits. Like, yeah, I don't think the cost for this race will be as dear or as expensive. The reason why I don't think that would be the case is because obviously the sausage curbs, or them small yellow bumps that we see generally, don't really exist here, unfortunately, in the game, so we're not going to break as many front wings, but looking very, very competitive after that first practice session in P5 then there, ladies and gents. So yeah, inside the top 10, and I think that's the first time we've actually been inside the top 10 after a practice session, which is looking very, very good for us going into the racing weekend. Of course, as I say, this circuit is a circuit in previous titles, previous F1 titles, that do tend to suit the player, so it may be a bit OP, this circuit for us. I'm not going to turn up the difficulty, because, you know, I think the difficulty is just right. But, you know, at the end of the day, this could be a very, very good qualifying. And wouldn't surprise me if we get top 10. You know, last season we got into 3rd. You know, so where are we going to end up this season? You know, at the Austrian Grand Prix. We're going to find out, though, in just a few moments' time, of course. But, yeah. So, obviously, we're going to go out, okay, as usual, okay. I've got a good feeling about this circuit. Like, yeah, I don't think we're going to struggle maybe as much. I think we could get away with the one run here in Q1, so long we get the lap time in. And that is what we've got to focus on, is getting that lap time in, as we now leave our pit garage then for the first time the weekend, then for a flying qualifying lap as we start Q1. Ricciardo's obviously the first man out on track. We're shortly followed behind him. So yeah, you know, obviously, you know, we're going to have to probably make a bit of a gap here. I don't really care about the slipstream too much here. I don't think it benefits really you that much. I don't think it really hampers you though to also be in the dirty air too much either. Here I think following is, you know, much more simpler, so, you know, but we are going to build a gap to Daniel Ricciardo, who is obviously up in front. We've got, I think, a Ferrari behind, so we've got to make sure we don't build too much of a gap to close in on that Ferrari. We want to keep a gap to the Ferrari, maybe about this much. I think it's the Ferrari, it's either Ferrari or Alpha, one of the two. I think though it is 100% the Ferrari. As we now prepare for our lap, we're gonna start getting a move on, and here we go then on our flying lap down into turn 1 then, or should I say up into turn 1. We've got a car leaving on the pit entry, so that's Lewis Hamilton. Obviously, hopefully he doesn't hold us up anywhere during the course of this lap. We're gonna gain though from the toe. Hopefully Lewis Hamilton gets out of the way, and Lewis Hamilton's just parked his car on the apex there, so that certainly impeded us a little bit. Hopefully that doesn't hamper this lap too much, but that's certainly not the thing that we want. Like, that's certainly affected me somewhat in terms of our focusing. Gonna try and regain it though in this final sector. Like, we gained a massive toe. Probably should have gone to the inside, but if I went to the inside, you know, would Lewis Hamilton have gone to the outside? I just don't know. But here we go on the run up to the line, and we're 4 tenths down on Daniel Ricciardo's lap time. So yeah, I'm just going to pay Lewis Hamilton back for good measure here. Obviously, you know, what goes around comes around, that's the way I see it, and I feel like, you know, Hamilton did impede me, so I've just impeded him, you know. I think that's a worthy penalty. But right now, we are ahead of Sebastian Vettel here, who's in P4 right now, so maybe things aren't as too bad as we once previous thought, okay? But obviously we did hamper Lewis Hamilton there out of turn 1, because obviously we got delayed up at turn 2 by Hamilton, you know, and I feel like Hamilton probably should have done more to obviously got out of the way maybe a bit more smoothly. Russell in 3rd, so I think Vettel's going to be pretty much having to go again for a second lap here. Because obviously no way Vettel could, you know, get through, I don't think, if we're, you know, in this position. Hamilton obviously doing the fastest lap despite us impeding him, so obviously we just held him up a little bit, but, you know, at the end of the day, you know, he shouldn't have held us up. So we may have to go again for a second run here. As I said, we probably could have got through with 1 run, but looking like we're going to have to go for 2 runs here, unfortunately. But I'm not too disheartened by that, you know, because obviously, you know, I feel the car pace is good here anyway, so we should be easily able to make it through. However, I said that last time in France, and what happened? We were eliminated in Q1. So let's, you know, this time maybe, you know, be a bit more open-minded to the possibility of still being eliminated. And right now, as I say, we probably could risk staying in the garage here for that second run, but it's just about how much do everyone else improve by. And yeah, Albon's improved by half a second, so I probably think we will have to go again, because Vettel's probably going to have to go again here. So that puts us then right on the cuff of being eliminated, let's say. So yeah, it is probably going to have to go again then here for a second lap. And where are we now? So Lucas Sieber, I imagine he will improve. than here. But let's go for that second lap now. So obviously we're gonna go for the second lap here now, because yeah, obviously we're through right now. We're in P, I think 14. So yeah, we're in P14. So we have done a lap that is good enough to go through, but whether or not that'd be good enough in a minute's time to still go through is the question, as the circuit will just continue to ramp up, you know, and rubber in basically. So lap times are going to certainly come down. I'm going to try and get to the back of this queue here. So let's stay out of the way. Alright. Zebra's doing the same thing, so a bit chaotic right now. Gonna move out of the way for, you know, now I'm gonna have to sort of park it here on that time. Obviously probably put Hamilton off a little bit there, but not much. We stayed very much out of the way. Alright,
just 30 seconds left in the session.
Oh, so Hamilton was on end lap anyway. Alright, here we go then. For the second lap. So here we go. Up through turn 1. Obviously last time we gained probably from benefit of a toe. This time no toe will be given. However, you can see how much time we've already improved just through Hamilton not being, okay, in that apex. And that obviously just helps throughout the lap. And I think we should be fairly safe through to Q2 at this rate. Half a second improvement. I don't think anyone else has improved as of yet. And fairly strong end to the lap as well. That is us through to Q2 then there. And P5, wow. Then that is a very good lap indeed then there. So yeah, we're through to Q2 then. No, well, that's obviously a very good qualifying then, obviously, so far as we go into Q2. So yeah, Albon unfortunately out. So the drivers that have been eliminated from Q1 are Kubica, Raikkonen, Albon, Norris and Weber, of course. So they are your eliminations. However, the drivers that got through are only read out from 15th to 10th. Lance Stroll, George Russell, Pierre Gasly, Hulkenberg, Butler and Romain Grosjean, plus anyone else in the top 10 that you can see, of course, including us. So, Q number 2 then, let's get on with Q2. Of course, obviously this, if we get through to Q3, the tyres that we set our fastest lap on is the tyres that we'll have to start the race on, unfortunately. So, you know, we are looking a strong contender for Q3 here, so I'm not too fussed. Obviously, we have 2 sets of tyres. Okay, if we get into Q3, we do get that 3rd set of tyres here. So, obviously, we do get that set for qualifying, and then we'll do the 1 run here in Q3. So, we're going to go out now for, obviously, this final lap. Now, obviously, there is a chance, though, we can still get through to Q2 on the 1 run, which then would leave us, okay, 1 run, 2 runs in Q3, just like the top runners. However, I think that's going to be pushing it somewhat. So, obviously, this is a session where we want to get into the top 10, but also if we do get into the top 10, we want to make sure the lap that we do is nice and smooth, you know, just to really not take too much out of the tyre life. So we'll start the race in a pretty nice position. But yeah, things are looking good here. As a result, we're gonna drop behind the Haas, which is kind of up. Just want to be behind it of Magnussen. So obviously Magnussen is gonna be certainly a driver that will be one of our contenders for Q3, I imagine, in the session. We now turn up the ERS deployment. Tyre wear here is lower than maybe also other circuits, by the way. But here we go on the first lap of Q2. And out of turn 1, Magnussen picking up a slipstream from the Force India car. I meant Racing Point. Now, obviously, Racing Point will be right now slower than us. Right now, up on the time that Max Verstappen has set, so we're going certainly strong here in Q2. What will be the lap time? It's P3 for us, so a 1077. Want to get out nicely out of the way for Lance Stroll. Just get out of the way here. Obviously, just repaying a Lance Stroll a favour, of course. Lance Stroll got nicely out of the way for us. And yeah. So that's the end of the first runs. I have no idea whether or not that time's good enough to get us through into Q3. We'll have to judge it very, very carefully. Bottas right now, though, on the medium tyres in 5th. So I think, you know, we could be actually safe here for Q3. Obviously, this is the first time we've made a appearance in Q2 since the Bahrain Grand Prix, by the way, so pretty nice to get out Q1. And can we make our first Q3 appearance here today? So yeah, things looking good then after the first runs, and obviously we're the only Toro Rosso right now remaining in the qualifying session, so obviously this is good for us in terms of reputation, but also look like we're going to get through to Q3 here, so long our lap time was pretty solid. I don't know whether or not it's it's 8 tenths up on the lap we did in Q1, roughly around similar time to, you know, first lap.
Press the MFD button to open the multifunction display.
You know, I'm going to say we are safe here, I think. I don't think anyone's going to knock us out. So I'm going to say we're safe. I honestly feel we are safe in this session. Let's see whether or not I am right. Right now we're in 6th. We're getting close. But we are through. I did say we are safe there. So we did the one run there, obviously in Q2, and that will be the tyres that we start the race upon. And now we can advance into Q3 and compete for maybe even pole position. We're only 7 tenths away from pole. I think is probably a bit too far based on the Ferraris and the Mercedes. I think they'll probably turn up the wick somewhat, but nonetheless we're still into Q3 here for the first time in our career, so things are looking good in this Toro Rosso right now. Around this circuit again, it does look like the player does have good pace here compared maybe to the AI, which obviously is something that's obviously nice to see, okay, but obviously, yeah, it is a lovely circuit, you know, and it's nice. So we're going to go out for our first run of Q1 here then. Obviously, this first run is just about setting a lap, nothing else, okay? It's not about, you know, getting it on pole position or, you know, having the best lap. It's just about plain and simply setting a lap here in Q1. Q3 on run 1. The second lap will be a bit maybe more about, you know, getting the best out of the car. But the first lap is plain and simply about just maximizing this first lap, you know, and seeing what we can do, you know, in this first lap of Q1, of course. So yeah, this is gonna be pretty cool to be in Q3 for the first time in our career, and around a circuit I do like indeed. You know, one of the best circuits well, this was one of our best tracks on F1 2018, and it looks like it's going to remain one of our best on F1 2019 as well, where we just, you know, are well, you know, much better than the rest of the field. You know, so, yeah. Out of the final turn then here, to start this first of the 2 flying laps. And then up the hill now, towards turn 2. Then as we now open up DRS, run down to turn 3. Keep car to the right hand side before you flick it left into this left hander, then into the next left hander. Keep it nice and open up the car again into this right hander. They're doing a 106.7, we do a 1.7. 0, so a small improvement from Q2 to Q3 then there, for sure. That is certainly decent then. Verstappen obviously doing right now the quickest lap time then here, as we are in P3 then here. Gonna get out of the way for the, I think it's the Haas, or Renault of Hulkenberg. Grosjean right now in P4. So, yeah. Right now also we're ahead of Ricciardo. Obviously we've got one more run after this to come. So, obviously we can improve. That will be the aim, to improve, of course. Charles Leclerc doing now the fastest lap of the session so far. So, yeah, looking good for us as well. Obviously I don't expect to really be competing with front runners. You know, I think they'll be a bit too far out of reach, I imagine. I think, though, the aim has to be best of the rest, quite honestly. So, yeah, things are looking good. So obviously we will now go from Well, we'll now sim forward the time, prepare for our second run here, and final run in qualifying, and yeah, then we'll obviously get into today's race. So we're now in 6th position, so we're looking very, very strong here. Only a 10th off Lewis Hamilton, so maybe we could be fighting with Lewis Hamilton in the race. Who knows, obviously. But yeah, looking very, very good indeed. And then here, in terms of sector times, right now we're pretty good in all 3 sectors, like compared to the rest of the field. I think middle sector we need to be a bit quicker. But first sector we're looking pretty quick compared to the rest of the field. We're looking, compared to the mid pack, we're actually up on everyone. But we've matched Verstappen in that first sector. In terms of middle sector, a bit down, like compared to Ricciardo and the Renaults, but we're pretty much up compared to Grosjean and Gasly. In that last sector, again, we're pretty much up then there by a good 0.3 of a second. So looks like the time's really coming in that first and last sector, you know, here at the moment. So yeah. So we'll go out probably in a few seconds time when the clock gets to 1:45.
10th in the speed trap, 169.3 miles per hour.
Yeah. So we'll go now. So here we go then. Let's go for our final run in this, so far, what's been stellar qualifying. And yeah, where are we going to end up placing the car? Will it be the top 5? Will it be 6th? Will it be 7th? Who knows? But what I do know is we have a opportunity, and when you have an opportunity, you've got to take it with every little last ounce we've got here today. So obviously just going to drop back a little bit here because I want to be the last across the line.
1 minute remaining, just 1 minute.
So gonna start now upping the temperatures of the, basically the tyres, just getting some good heat into them now.
30 seconds left in the session.
Here we go then. Out of the final corner as we cross the line, and we're the last car to do so. That wasn't the greatest first corners. Going a bit deep. We'll still manage to complete the lap, as it is perfectly valid. We didn't gain any time in that first sector through the mistake, so yeah. Two tenths up on our lap time now in this middle. Obviously, just really trying to maximise every last bit of this circuit right now. Bit of a corner cut. No time gained though, or lost. Probably more time lost actually. And we'll cross the line, and where does that get us? P5, yes! Get in there. That is a brilliant result. Absolute brilliant result. Not the cleanest lap, but it's a brilliant result. Like, yeah, and very much on par with the Ferrari of Vettel. So yeah, it'll be Bottas on pole. Obviously we'll start in 5th. I know that is pretty insane to be already this high up the grid. But this is a circuit, for whatever reason, that is so great and kind to the player. You know, it is just one of them circuits I think that the player just runs well at, and you know, you have to take it as it comes, sort of thing. Some circuits are just going to be, you know, a huge mountain to climb in terms of a pace, but you know, other circuits will be just like this, you know, where the player can just really maximize a result, you know, and that's what we've done here. And yeah, obviously that's a brilliant qualifying then session for us, and that will certainly help in terms of for the basically the books, you could say, and for our, you know, reputation here right now. So yeah, that's obviously something I'm happy of, okay, to have obviously that increased reputation. But now let's consolidate a good result here. Now obviously I don't think we're going to be battling with the Ferraris or, you know, Hamilton in this race. So if, let's say, Hamilton gets ahead of us at the first corner, I'm not going to even try to hold him up, you know, unless we have that raw pace where, you know, we can challenge. But I have my doubts, you know, I really have my doubts on our raw race pace. I think we'll have good pace, but not enough to compete with the likes of Vettel, Verstappen, Leclerc, Bottas and Hamilton. I think these guys are going to be too quick, and there's no point of holding them up and delaying their race, because that just delays our race. So, you know, might as well just then let them go, you know, as soon as they get ahead of us, you know, maybe try and slipstream them a little bit, you know, try and stick with them maybe in that sense, you know, and build the gap to maybe the Renaults. I think that is where our race is coming from, you know, today. And yeah, we'll just have to accept that, you know, as our race, I think. If we do get to manage the race with these lot, then that'd obviously be great, but I have my doubts. Oh, right, need to be very quick here on the formation lap to, what you call it, turn up the ERS deployment, because we forgot to do that. Too much talking going on there. For some reason, Lewis Hamilton's inside me right now. So, obviously, we'll now turn up the ERS quickly. So, formation lap is done then here.
The rest of the grid is forming up. Be patient.
So, here we go then. Gotta be very quick here. Five red lights. It's lights out and away we go then. For the Austrian Grand Prix, moving to the inside. Just have that inside line, and we've had to sort of cut the corner. We will give Hamilton the place back, but not a great second corner either. Really getting swamped down here. I did say that obviously, like, no point of delaying here, and we've got two Renaults. We're sort of in a sandwich here. That is terrible through turn, like, number 2 there. Hopefully he picked up no damage, luckily not, but very terrible turn 2. What was going on there? Grosjean came down the inside of me like a madman, and that sort of caused a like a cannon effect, and we're still going backwards in these early stages of the Grand Prix. So talk about not being able to compete with the top runners. Of course, we're nowhere near the top runners, and we're back now to reality after what was a pretty you know, lovely qualifying. But yeah, no, let's try and refocus here in this race, do a sort of like control alt delete, and try and, you know, restart this race as if we're starting from lap 1 again, and try and get back Magnussen through the first car in this probably cars we're competing with really here today, as Pierre Gasly, I think, going for a manoeuvre on Daniel Ricciardo. No, sorry, Grosjean going for a manoeuvre on Ricciardo. I thought it was Gasly there. So where is Gasly in all of this? I don't know. But yeah, nonetheless. So first lap's done now in this race, obviously. I think ERS management could be a thing today. Yeah, we're going to have to look after it a little bit. Going to sort of try and harvest a little bit in this middle sector. And yeah, turn it up a little bit. Balls, that's the first mistake we've made all weekend. I'm going to just give myself the one flashback here. Because I feel like we've done pretty well regardless up to this point. And I want to try and, you know, have a solid race. So the pace ain't as strong as qualifying.
Race officials have enabled DRS. DRS is now available.
Open up DRS now. Obviously, we're in Magnussen's slipstream, which is good. Grosjean going for another attack on Daniel Ricciardo. Once again, gaining from the DRS. Can Ricciardo defend here? Getting a bit feisty up front, for sure.
Let's use some of this energy. Increase the ERS deployment.
Because we're now starting to find our feet, I feel, in this Grand Prix car feeling. How can you put it? A bit more better. I feel like the competitiveness is starting to come. Right. Feel like we're now starting to get in this position where we can probably now focus on overtakes now, as Magnussen will be our first victim. We're going to gain from a slipstream, but so is Magnussen. Magnussen goes down the inside, free abreast into the corner, and we're literally watching a battle between now the two houses. We're gonna add on to this, having a look. Nothing we can do. We're gonna be very close to breaking a bit of our front wing, which is obviously not great. But yeah, that was a bit chaotic then there, but we've recovered one place now in the Grand Prix. So obviously, yeah, that was pretty chaotic then there. As we go on to lap 5. 18 required here to obviously get to the end of the Grand Prix.
You'll be on the mediums.
Alright. Not as good of an exit as maybe last time. That's probably going to put us back into the path of Romain Grosjean. Also not as hectic maybe, also in this. Right now Ricciardo's really building a train here. Good exit off the corner. We're now alongside Kevin Magnussen. This is for P number 7. Then here in the Grand Prix. Down the inside we go. Going to push Magnussen out wide. And that is us up into 7th place. So, next up is Daniel Ricciardo. Now, Daniel Ricciardo is seemingly struggling for a bit of pace here in this Grand Prix right now. Obviously, doesn't have the DRS, has no one to follow or slipstream in this race at the moment. So, right now, obviously, probably this is the reason why he's not maybe as quick as us or as any of his right now main rivals or competitors in the race.
Use overtake. Use overtake.
So open up DRS, obviously going to gain from a bit of a slipstream here. Ours are certainly falling now a little bit off the pace. Open up DRS. Now we've got a bit of slipstream. Don't think we're gonna be able to get past this lap. Gonna wait for, you know, to come back around more or less. Just follow Ricciardo here. But I want to get it done quite early, if you understand where I'm coming from. Because I feel like the earlier we get the manoeuvre done, the better. That is for our race right now. Especially considering the two Haas's are looking pretty racy.
Okay, I think the effects of the tyre deg are going to kick in soon. We should be alright for the time being.
So here we go, open up the DRS.
In this lap, push now.
Right, let's try and maybe line up a move for next turn. Put Ricciardo under a bit of pressure here. Rushing Ricciardo on the grass a little bit somewhat. Then there. And Vassos now up into P6 behind one of the Ferraris now of Charles Leclerc. So Vassos now in the top 6. Vettel out front leading the way here in this Austrian Grand Prix. The two Mercedes running in a solid second and third right now. So yeah.
Okay, remember to pit this lap.
That's the second mistake we've made at the same corner. So this corner seeming a bit like our, you know, our struggles right now. This one here looks like maybe we're getting probably too much curb and the curb's spinning us a little bit. So gotta be careful there in future. Alright, in we come. This will be our first and only pit stop of the race weekend then here.
Exit now. You'll be racing as you leave the pits. Release, release.
Whoa, that's close to
Pit
Daniel.
strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
There we go. Open up the DRS. We do have a bit of DRS here, clearly on the exit. We have no DRS though on this time. But these new tyres feel gorgeous to be on right now. Really attack here.
Increase ERS deployment. It's time to use some of this charge.
Yellow flag,
Virtual
hopefully.
Safety car, virtual safety car. Reduce speed immediately and keep a positive delta.
No. No. It's Hamilton. This could be a massive issue now in this race, because those who are going to pit under virtual safety car are going to gain a hell lot of time.
Drop your speed, our delta is too low and we risk a penalty.
I've just got hope. Let's see if anyone's pitted any of our rivals. So Verstappen's, I think, decided to pit. Leclerc's decided to pit. Otherwise, no one, thankfully, has decided to pit here under the virtual safety car by the looks of things. So, you know, it looks like maybe we've got away with it, but that is a scare and a half indeed.
VSC ending, we're going green. Maintain positive delta until the green flags.
Go now.
Green flag.
Pick up the speed there nice and early.
Gap to car in front is 8.6 seconds.
So, obviously, still gonna, what you call it, come probably out in P6 here. Well, P5, sorry, because Hamilton's out of the race. They still haven't moved that Mercedes by the looks of it, oddly.
Caution, caution. Someone's come up ahead of you. There's a yellow flag ahead.
Is that?
Alexander is in the pits. Alexander in the pits.
Don't tell me both Mercedes are out.
They're speeding up again, so I expect they've fixed whatever the problem was.
Right, as I say, come out ahead of Magnussen. Now for the second part of this race, we have a sitting duck and we have to go to the defensive line. Down the inside, we'll have to leave Ricciardo a bit of space there. Unfortunately, getting a bit too much wheel spin, losing a bit of time, but we will come back at Daniel Ricciardo. Down the inside we go. And that's us back into P8.
Nice move. Good job.
So now we're the sitting duck in this race. And everyone else is just able to take advantage of this. So that's us now up into 5th. So here comes Ricciardo. I don't think Ricciardo is going to be close enough this time.
The car ahead is
I'll relieve a bit of pressure.
Seconds.
Getting very good exit. Look how good that exit was off that corner. That probably gained us like a second worth of lap time. Vettel is now doing fastest lap, Bottas fastest lap. So we're going to break into like the 109 barrier. So we're doing a pretty decent lap time there. That's the fastest probably of that pack. We do have raw pace by the looks of it today. Like, obviously we're not able to compete with some of the bigger drivers, but that was a terrible corner. But we are able to keep these lot behind, and we are able to race on merit. Like, yeah, we've made 1 or 2 mistakes, just like that one a moment ago. Yeah, we've used 2 flashbacks, but the fact is, the pace is there. At least here at this circuit anyway. And compared to our teammate, let's see. Teammate status.
Gap to teammate behind is 14.4 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. The time last lap was a 1:11.5.
So we're smashing our teammate this weekend. Like, yeah. Like, and this is what we want to aim for every race weekend, more or less. We want to be able to aim for these solid point scores by the end of the season. But not just with my car, but with also Albon's car.
Vettel's the race leader.
Because I want to see both of us Toro Rossos going well, able to fight. But despite the great qualifying pace, it's been pretty difficult today, this race as well. It's not been easy, we've been kept honest. I want to review what happened, by the way, at turn 2 after the race. The incident between myself, Grosjean, and how all that carnage came to be. Ricardo's been closing here. How's the gearbox?
There's 5 laps of
47%.
fuel remaining.
That should do easily probably the next race. So probably going to have to take a penalty at Germany. The Williams have been pretty quick, by the way, this race weekend, actually. Something I wanted to point out. They've not been too shabby or too slow. Obviously, it is an engine power circuit, so maybe this is why. As Ricciardo will probably now give it a go. Up into turn 1. Can he get around the outside? Not quite. We probably did cut the corner just a tad there, but I feel that was just about fair, as it was well, that is a very narrow corner. Pace is somewhat dropped off, but nonetheless. So we're 3 laps or 4 laps from taking our best result of the season, and back-to-back point scores as well. France now obviously here in Austria. So far this European leg of the season's been going okay, I guess pretty well, solid stuff from my team in this European phase of the season. And we're also ahead of one of the works Red Bulls, by the way. So that's obviously good. That is always nice. It's not Verstappen, because Verstappen's further up the road. It's the one where Pierre Gasly we're now just really starting to cruise here home, as the pressure is just getting lighter and lighter off our shoulder. Daniel Ricciardo's dropped back somewhat here in recent laps. So 2 laps to go, and Magnussen and Gasly here are the guys who are our nearest contenders. I think it'll be soon very much Gasly who will soon mount maybe a challenge to Magnussen, but can he then come and mount a challenge to me in this final lap of the race, as the pair side by side, and Gasly now has 1 lap really remaining to come and get me, but Magnussen in the braking zone I think has just regained and probably prevented a Gasly challenge here in this race. And yeah, looking now even more further stretch for the Red Bull driver of Gasly to come and get me, as we now enter the last lap.
This is your final lap of the race.
So final lap here then, and obviously we've now only got 1 lap remaining, or this is the final lap, shall I say. Gasly's only got probably 1 more attempt remaining. we're going to turn up the engine now. Just the ERS deployment. Use up any remaining energy. But it's Vettel who's led start to finish and wins the Austrian Grand Prix. And probably regaining some points here in the championship. I have no idea, of course, who's in second and third. But we come home to take the best result of the season for Toro Rosso so far. And a P5 then, a brilliant, outstanding result around the circuit. Managing to hold on to where we started then there, which isn't bad indeed. So yeah, really good result then there. But yeah, let's see who came home in second and third. So there's a Mercedes there.
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres
two Ferrari podiums.
Did a great job
then there.
That as well. They just
as Ferraris get on the podium.
It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Perez then, obviously not looking too happy with the P8. So it's Bottas second, Leclerc third, then and a win for Sebastian Vettel. And yeah, how long ago did he win a Grand Prix? It must be back when we scored good points, maybe. I think it was Bahrain where we scored points. No, China. So yeah, it must have been back where, sorry, we got out Q2. So Bahrain, I think that was the last time we saw him on the top step of the podium. So another Ferrari win. That's, I think, the fourth Ferrari win this season. To now equal, obviously, the Mercedes. But yeah, so Charles Leclerc finishing in fourth.
Well, I certainly didn't have any complaints with Kevin Magnussen.
Sorry, third. Verstappen fourth. I think Verstappen got a 5-second penalty, so maybe he finished ahead. I think there of Leclerc, but because Leclerc was within that 5-second gap, I think he got obviously, you know, the podium. But yeah, we finish in there in a solid P5 then there, ahead of Magnussen, Pierre Gasly, Perez, Ricciardo and Grosjean. And as I say, we did have the pace there. You can see the lap time. It shows you like 196 for us, a 194 for Gasly, 196 for Perez. We were in with that group then there, but you know, ahead of, you know, the likes of this lot here, then well and truly ahead then here this race weekend. And yeah, we obviously did our teammate by 1 second quicker, and look at the gap between us and our teammate, 20 seconds then today. That's the biggest gap I think we've had to the teammate, our teammate all year. Then 20 seconds, what a gap between myself and Albon then there today. And this is a lot we usually fight. Butler, Norris, you know, Raikkonen, these are the lots we're usually fighting. However, today it was a bit different. Today it was a lot closer and a lot higher up the grid and closer to this lot. And we only actually finished less than really 15 seconds off, you know, the podium then there really. So weren't that bad, just over 15 seconds, about 17 seconds. 17 seconds off podium. Usually we're like, you know, a good 30 or 40 seconds off podium. So yeah, it just shows how strong this track is for the player compared to, you know, maybe the AI. But after that result, obviously, how does that affect the driver's standings and the constructors? Well, we regained back up to 8th place ahead of McLaren then there, crucially. Ferrari take the lead of the championship once again, now extending that to 14 points. Okay, and obviously also Haas moving up from 7th to 6th here, Alpha down from 6th to 7th then. So yeah, it looks like we could be actually fighting with Haas and maybe Alpha for P7 and P6 then here this year. And maybe if McLaren can get in on that group as well, we've got a good four-way tussle for P6 possibly only 9 points is the difference between us and Haas. So yeah, that's not really that many when you think of it. It's a lot maybe from a midfield battle, but yeah. We move up to now 11th, well clear now of, you know, where we were in 13th place before the race. Verstappen moves ahead of his teammate only by 3 points though. And it's now, the gap down to Hamilton is now 1 point between Charles Leclerc and Hamilton. Vettel gaining obviously quite a substantial also amount here this race weekend, with 15 points now behind, getting himself probably back in contention for this driver's title indeed after Lewis Hamilton's retirement. So I just want to have a look at certain things here, mainly the start, because it was quite a wacky start. Let's first analyse it from our view once again. So we didn't make the greatest start, moved to the right hand side obviously as we do, went up the inside. I did feel like there wasn't enough space left, okay, here for me. Probably was, but let's see. I'm pretty sure Hamilton did move quite sharply. You can actually see what I mean. Like, if we went for the same gap, I think we would have been, you know, spun right round. No contact made, which is always good, but then had this massive slide, as you'll see, off the corner. You know, probably a bit of dirt on our tyres or something. Then this is where we keep going backwards. Now, I knew Grosjean was there, but I didn't expect him to go up my inside like a madman to go for this very, very tiny gap. But he does that. I know in 2018 wouldn't do that. We obviously couldn't turn in, as you can tell, you know, like maybe how we would want to, because we have to think, Grosjean's there, what can we do? So we've had to sort of bang into the side of, you know, Ricciardo, and this is so messy then there. Absolutely horrible then there. Let's analyse it from maybe a different perspective then, to see. Now, in all fairness, okay, we did leave the door open to Grosjean, but Grosjean then does turn in very early. Then on that inside, he was very much deep. I think, oh, I don't really know. I don't really know what to say, because the gap was there for Grosjean to go. I think that's clear now from that angle. Okay, reviewing it from that angle. Okay, the gap was there or thereabouts. But then, you know, a very long way back, I think that is coming from. Because about now you're braking. That's a very long way back to go up the inside of someone, I think, personally. And that gap's just going to continue to narrow all the time. And the angle, you can see really from here, he's already trying to turn into the corner. And yeah, he does make contact also without even us making the contact. Whose fault is that? I think it's a racing... I think... Right. I really don't want to lay blame with anyone. I feel like you could equally pin it on my shoulders as much as you could probably pin it as Grosjean's responsibility or fault here, I think. I don't think we can blame the Red Bull, the Williams, or Grosjean, I don't think. Or, sorry, or Ricciardo. I think we have to probably take 50% of the responsibility there, I'm going to have to say. Because, right, let's just analyse it from this way. Right. The point is, okay, if we analyse it, we do have a run on both of them, okay. We were going to go up the inside whatsoever, as well. I was obviously going to back out, okay. This is what I was going to do. I was going to back out of that manoeuvre. But at this point, I can't no longer. That chance of backing out has more or less gone. I now have to commit to hitting more or less Ricciardo, which isn't what ideally you want to do in a race, of course. Then the next point, okay, that we got to analyse is, was the gap there to be opened? Did Grosjean have a gap? Yes, he did. You know, but did he come also from far back? Yes, he did. And I think that's the issue here that we've got to look at as well. From Grosjean's perspective, the gap is there, but then the angle, that's not there. And was he far enough alongside in the braking zone, which is probably about here at this moment in his braking zone? Is he far enough alongside me to really make that type of lunge down the inside? And I think the answer has to be no. Was the angle there? Of course not. That requires Ricciardo to leave so much space on the inside. And actually, just to prove what I mean, right, Ricciardo can probably see at this moment in time a car, two cars, or a bunch of cars on the inside. Now he can only see me on the inside. He doesn't even know whether Grosjean is there. So he's going to take that normal line. He may leave me a bit of space, as you can see. He leaves me that bit of space. But he doesn't know Grosjean is even there until probably... well, he can probably see a car. He probably doesn't know who it is. And then he knows, oh, geez, that's Grosjean. You know, sort of thing. On this side, obviously, no one's there. So that's what I mean. Whereas from Grosjean's angle, you know, obviously he can see, you know, well... At this moment, he can see who's in front of him, you know. So can I, you know, I know that we've got, you know, a car. Well, I know we've got, okay, Gasly to the left. I didn't realise, you know, as you would see, you know, Russell. I knew Russell was behind, but didn't know whether or not he was going to be there. And I think it's just a case, one, two, well, how many cars is that there? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 corners into this one corner. Clearly doesn't go. At least we know how many cars now go into that one corner, I guess, for next time. Let's not make it 5 abreast again in that one corner, please, because that would be, you know, a very annoying.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty
But
happy with that.
overall, happy with the result. Very, very good
all
result then there.
Can anything or anyone
P5
stop
then
you?
there. So yeah.
Do you have any comments about the collisions?
So just making a few
Appreciate
comments
your time.
there, of course. So yeah, you know, obviously it's all good, obviously, as in terms of, you know, the result then there. That is a very, very good, solid result indeed. You know, gaining good points in there for ourselves. And yeah, you know, we can't take it for granted. We have to be happy with that result then there.
Excellent result today. Finishes
But,
like that will look good on
yeah,
the contract
that's
reviews.
really, really nice
On to the next
indeed.
one. Looks like one
So,
of your
yeah.
rivals has also been invited to a historical event.
So
This could be a good
we're going to now
opportunity
move
play out
to
your
the next race weekend. Obviously, we're not going to do the race as we've already done this race. And what a race weekend that was. We'll just select our tyre allocation. We're going to obviously go again. I don't expect the pace of the car to be maybe quite as good here. I'd be very surprised if it was. You know, and as if we were as strong here. And we may turn up the difficulty after this race, depending on result, okay? If I feel like the result is probably too good, I'm going to turn up the difficulty, probably to like 94, 95 AI% difficulty. But if I feel like the result is probably where we probably should be in terms of maybe the car level performance, I think then we'll probably then leave it on the difficulty that it's already on, you know. But yeah, you know, so that will be then decided next time after the next video. And yeah, it looks like again another dry race weekend, a bit more cloudy though here, unfortunately, as you'd expect though from maybe a circuit like Britain. You know, Britain don't get the nicest weather, of course. And yeah, obviously still no upgrades for this video or for this race weekend. You know, next race weekend, Germany is where the upgrades will come. Because, yeah, 2 major upgrades for Germany, of course. Then there. But otherwise, yeah. So until the next one, see you all next time for another brand new video. Until then, have a good day. Take it easy. See you tomorrow. And see you all next time. Subscribe, like, and share. Thank you for watching.